What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So we're here now, and it's time to talk about the Cybertruck situation that went down in Vegas recently here. So apparently, of course, we've had a few things come out since it actually popped off. So now I got a couple segments here. We're going to they're going to talk about the situation where they possibly found some information on his phone where he may have left behind a note or something, things like that. And also we're going to hear from I think one of the other Green Berets that was actually and maybe active duty with him and things like that. So yeah, we're going to go here now and we're going to check some things out. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Major developments in the investigation into the man behind the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas. Late today, police saying the driver left behind notes on his phone, detailing his actions and clues to a possible motive. Newly released surveillance video shows Army Green Beret Matthew Livelsberger at a Tesla charging station during his trip to Las Vegas. That chilling video of his final destination, the Trump Hotel. Authorities say Livelsberger died by suicide just before that blast. And they say in the notes he left behind, he railed against the United States, but he held no animosity toward the president-elect. And he wrote, quote, "This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call." ABC's Mola Lenghi leads us off in Las Vegas again tonight.
Tonight, authorities saying the highly decorated Green Beret suspected of using explosives to blow up that Cybertruck outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas left behind notes found on his cell phone, providing clues to a possible motive.
And in there, you can read a couple of the excerpts. "We are the United States of America, the best country, people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it?"
I'm sorry to say that, but Jesus Christ, only pay attention to spectacles and violence. Look at our movies. Look at our, wow. Listen, look, I'm not in agreement with the way he did this. This is crazy the way he pulled this off. It was unnecessary. He could have figured out another way, but the point of we, are very violent like that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that point.
"But now I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took."
Officials confirming that 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger died by suicide just before the explosion. Master Sergeant Livelsberger was on approved leave from his base in Germany. A senior U.S. official telling ABC News there had been no red flags. Authorities releasing these new surveillance images showing him at a Tesla charging station as he made his way from Colorado to New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. That Cybertruck rented via the app Turo. Livelsberger pulling into the hotel valet at 7:35 a.m. Wednesday before pulling out, returning an hour later. And then, 17 seconds later, the explosion. 7 bystanders injured. Sources say Livelsberger was divorced and had recently remarried, his wife reportedly telling authorities he'd been out of the house in Colorado Springs since Christmas following a dispute over infidelity. And while investigators say they found those notes railing against the condition of the United States, they say the soldier held no animosity towards President-elect Trump.
We've found that the subject held no animosity towards the president-elect. The Army indicates that he likely suffered from PTSD, and we are also aware that there were potential other family issues or personal grievances in his own life that may have been contributing factors.
Investigators scouring the suspect's background. FBI and local police searching this townhome in Colorado Springs. Neighbors stunned.
He seemed normal. His wife is very nice. They just had a baby.
Well, Mary, late today, the sheriff here in
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Dude, just had a kid, too? Oh, my goodness, man. This is just unnecessary. He could have figured out a better way.
Las Vegas saying they are aware of a podcast claiming to have a letter from Matthew Livelsberger mentioning recent drone sightings in the Northeast and claiming that he was being followed by federal investigators. Now, authorities say they're not 100% certain it came from him, but they do believe it did. Mary?
Mola Lenghi with the disturbing new details tonight. Mola.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the next part. We're gonna go to Fox and see what they have to say about the situation. And also, I think Fox is gonna have the somebody that actually knew him speak out as well. Let's go here now.
Emerge about the suspect in the Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion as police reveal letters left behind by Army soldier Matthew Livelsberger.
This is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives?
Our next guest, former Green Beret Tim Kennedy, knew the suspect and is shown here with him. They both competed in a military-style reality show. He joins us now. Tim, thank you for joining us. First off, I just got to ask you, it had to have been pretty wild for you to have seen the story and the news coverage of it, and then to look at pictures and say, oh my gosh, I knew this guy, I've met this guy.
Yeah, it took about 36 hours, honestly, about a day and a half into it, when more photos started emerging as to what he looked like in some photos from earlier in his life, 10 years, 15 years ago when I knew him, before I was able to put it together. And I was just flabbergasted. I was left speechless. I couldn't believe it because I really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with him. And I found him to be incredibly competent and talented as a special forces operator. And man, I was floored, to be honest. I didn't know what to do or say.
Anything, and I realize you obviously you didn't stay in touch with him over the years, but anything that you remember particularly about his personality that strikes you as particularly kind of hard to wrap your brain around?
Yeah, Charlie, start to finish, categorically, the guy was a great dude. He was fit. He was a good shooter. He was a good communicator. There's 5-6 events that we did in this reality competition show, mostly based around soldier skills. And in every instance, he was seemingly a great person. None of this checks out. On the special forces side, he was first a special forces communications sergeant, and then an intelligence sergeant, and then ultimately an 18 Zulu. So he went through kind of every single one of the checks and balances. He was a talented Green Beret, and sounds like everybody liked to work with him. So none of this makes sense, and it's so heartbreaking. I truly hope that this is a wake up call for service members to make sure that we're checking in with each other right now. But it's so heart wrenching.
So you guys are Green Berets. You're the absolute best of the best. And I guess that's part of the reason why this is so shocking to those of us watching this, and especially people who know Green Berets. What did you make of those letters?
Yeah, they seemed unhinged. His current standing was one that he is a good soldier. And, then kind of clearly in a few months leading up to what happened in front of the Trump Tower in Las Vegas, something broke. Yeah. And they're very scary letters to come from somebody that is so talented in so many different things. The selection process for Green Berets is arduous, and they're very, very particular, and very rarely do you see, of course, there's going to be bad apples, but this doesn't seem like a bad apple. This seems like somebody that was hurt or broken or very scared. And, I've been at a loss for words for the past day and a half.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us are. Tim Kennedy, thank you for your service, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah. So, all right. So this is one of the guys that was on, I guess, a reality show with him and stuff like that. And man, come on. So, those notes were definitely pretty wild, that he left behind and things like that, and in this country, man, we got serious issues. We got serious issues. And, when we have our own snapping out like this, it's a huge mental problem in our country. We have a huge mental health problem in our country. And I'm hoping that we can actually start to get some of that figured out, because it's just the truth. It's no way in hell, an elite soldier like that is supposed to be just snapping out like that. Because they're trained to be under all types of real deal pressure. I mean, real deal pressure. So yeah, man, this is wild though. This is wild. So yeah, they got notes left behind by them, things like that. Listen, look, I hope nothing else happens as the year continues on and things like that, man. Hopefully everybody be safe. Hopefully, I'm sending a prayer for his loved ones and things like that, because I know they're losing their minds, probably wondering why. Like you said in the first segment, he just had a kid. Jesus Christ, man. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.